Marianne Steichen, and I'm the INDY June Voyeur. I'm going to give a shout out to KCLD because they talked about it the month of October about getting your mammogram, and I was 41, almost 42. I just turned 42, and they had talked about it all the time. And I thought, oh, I better get in and get mine. And so I scheduled it, and they found a small lump, and they said, oh, I think we can do it, just a lumpectomy. So I was pretty happy about that. And then they did another scan and didn't show anything, so we were good to go. Went in, and I was supposed to be the same day, and I woke up and I heard the nurses say I was going up to a room, and I was like, why am I going up to a room? I should be going home. And they wouldn't tell me. And so got put up in a room back in the time when you shared a room with somebody else. And my husband is the one who actually had to tell me that they found 2 huge lumps behind that small one that didn't show up on any of the scans. And we didn't talk about that before surgery, so 2 days later I was back in and had a mastectomy done on my right side. And then I started the chemo and then radiation. Started in October, and I didn't finish up until probably almost a year later. I had chemo to begin with, like 6 treatments every 2 weeks, and then I went for 12 weeks every week. And then I had, after I was all done with the chemo, then I did the radiation, and that was probably that was a lot. I don't remember how many days that was. A lot.
But here we are, 10 years later.
Yep.
And you're cancer free.
Yep.
So do you want to talk about what is it like to be a survivor? You know, we have a lot of people that we meet through INDY that are going through cancer, and what is it like?
It's, every year is like when you go in for the exam and you pass that year mark, and that next year mark is like a huge celebration every year to me. And this year, when it's in October and it's 10 years for me, it's going to be a huge party.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my husband used to make cookies, and then he bought a cake shaped like a ribbon, and he would frost it pink for me to bring into work. So I've after he passed away, I kept that up, and I bring in a cake every year to celebrate. We went to a cabin for a week with our girls, and my oldest daughter's boyfriend at the time, and her best friend, and then my middle daughter's best friend, and then Tori, and they were jumping off the boat, and then getting back on the boat, and then jumping off again. And Gary and Tori were out a ways from everybody else, and he was insistent on Tori going back to the boat, and I thought it was really weird because she wanted to stay with him. Well, that's because she told me later that he said there's something wrong, and she didn't want to leave him, but I couldn't hear any of that. And so we were telling Tori to come back, and then after he knew she was safely away from him, then he told us he was having trouble. And then my daughter's boyfriend at the time jumped out, and he said he's holding on to my ankle. And then I jumped in the water, and Gary had let go. We had his funeral, and it was outside and wrapped around. I mean, the Steichens are a big family, and they're very well known in Waite Park and area. There was a lot of people, and it was outside, and it took people 2 or 3 hours to get through the line to get up to me and the girls.
So now you have a different battle you're facing, and you want to talk about what you have going on and what you're needing.
I need a kidney. I actually, when I was pregnant with my youngest, so it was 14 years ago, they discovered I had really high protein in my urine. It wasn't toxemia like you'd usually get. And so they wanted to wait until after I had the baby, which I had her 10 weeks early, so she was a preemie. She weighed 1 pound, 11 ounces. So I was pretty occupied with that. And so the kidney part waited until she was out of the woods and home. And then I started that, and they, going to nephrology again, and put me on medicine, and my creatinine level went down. Things were looking good, and I was taken off the medicine. Then the breast cancer came, and my kidneys started acting up again, but I said, I'm sorry, I can only deal with one major crisis at a time. And at that minute, that was all I could think of was with my breast cancer, and I had to take care of getting that treatment done. And then after I was all done with that, then we started in with the kidneys. And so I've been dealing with my kidneys longer than I had the breast cancer, but it's now getting to the point where they did tell me 14 years ago I would need a transplant, but I honestly did not believe her that I would. I just thought that it'll get better, and it didn't. So this last appointment, I go every 3 months. My kidney function went from 15% to 12%, which was the biggest jump I've had. So that was pretty sad.
I was going to ask you because I don't know, and there's probably people out on the internet or might see this video. You know, can you tell them what is the process to see if you're even eligible to be a donor if someone wanted to give a kidney?
Well, I'm going through Mayo Clinic because I'm from Rochester. My mom lives there, and I figured that would be the easiest because it is a long process for me to be down there, and I'd have a place to stay without having to stay at like a transplant house, which I guess would be okay because they're very nice. But you just have to go online to the Mayo Clinic, www.transplant.org or something like that, and fill out a questionnaire. And it's going to ask about your weight, your medication and stuff like that. And it usually will tell you right then and there if they will contact you. And if they contact you, they'll send you a kit, and you can go get your blood test done anywhere you want. My insurance pays for it. And to see what blood type you are. And then it goes from there. If they approve you after that, then you go to Rochester for 3 days of testing, which sounds like a lot, but it goes pretty fast. And a lot of it's meeting with social workers, and nothing that's gonna hurt. Because I did it, and now I went with both of them when they did it. And after that, at Mayo Clinic, everybody that met with you, they meet once a week, and they approve you or they don't.